students, how are you today? My name is Kristel Dianne Calivoso and I am your English teacher for today. So before we proceed to the lesson, I would like to ask you, how do you push yourself to learn more in school? So I suggest you need to have a willpower because it plays an important role in helping you to push yourself. So let's say you failed in English test. Then use it as a motivation to help you to do better in the next one, right? Then, what if I fail? Then, if you fail, you just have to study harder next time and you will succeed in the end. See, it is not that hard, is it? You just need to find that fire burning inside you, do whatever you can to feed it, and you will do fine. So, having a positive mindset is important too. So our lesson for today is about phrasal verbs. Students should be taught and educated to be capable of using phrasal verbs when interacting in English, because having a knowledge of phrasal verbs would normally lead to better English proficiency. So before I discuss about phrasal verbs, I would like to give you a short activity. So this activity will give you a clue and insight about phrasal verbs. So I would like you to get a piece of paper and let's answer this activity. And we're going to analyze it later on. So number 1, his theory doesn't blank. I don't think he did enough research. A, add on. B, add off. C, add up. Next, can you please come and pick me up from work? My car has blank. A, worked out. B, broken down. C, turned off. Next, I'll blank the problem and try to find a solution. A, brought up. B, look into. C, look up. Next, the boys in the picture need to blank the hurdles to complete the race. A, get over. B, get down. C, get off. Number 5, it means to ignore someone, to refuse to talk or be nice to someone, or to purposely not give any attention to someone or something. A, back off. B, brush off. C, back up. Nicely done, students. Now we are through with the activity. Let's analyze it and find how is it related to our lesson for today. So let's go into answer these activities. So number 1, his theory doesn't blank. I don't think he did enough research. So what do you think is the answer there, guys? Yes, so the answer there is add up. So his theory doesn't add up and I don't think he did enough research. So add up here in the sentence means to make sense, right? So his ideas were not clear or logical. Additionally, we also have the phrasal verb add up that could talk about an equal amount. For example, the total bill added up to $20. So my food cost $10 and my friend's food cost $10. So $10 plus $10 is $20. So, right, you got it right, guys. So number 2, can you please come and pick me up from work? My car has blank. So the answer there is right, broken down. So when we say broken down, it means what? It means something has stopped working properly. So for example, this, can you please come and pick me up from work? My car has broken down. So the car is not working, so could you please come and get me with your car, right? So another example of breakdown is to describe a person who has started to cry because they are under a lot of stress or experiencing something very negative. For example, when she found out the news of her friend's death, she broke down in tears. It means she heard some very bad news and started to cry uncontrollably. Now let's proceed to number 3. I'll blank the problem and try to find a solution. So what do you think is the answer, guys? So the answer is look into. I'll look into the problem and try to find a solution. So the phrasal verb look into, what do you think that could possibly mean? So it means to investigate or research something specific. So I'll look into the problem and try to find a solution. So however, the look into can also mean to look inside something. For example, look into my eyes and tell me the truth, right? Next, the boys in the picture need to blank the hurdles to complete the race. So what do you think is the answer, guys? Right, the answer there is get over. The boys in the picture need to get over the hurdle to complete the race. So what do you mean by the phrasal verb get over? So in this sentence, get over means to get to the side of something, usually by jumping or climbing. So the boys in the picture need to get over the hurdles to complete the race. So in the other hand, the phrasal verb to get over could also means to recover from something or to feel better after having a sickness or a problem. For example, it took me a few days to get over my cold. So she was very upset when her relationship ended, but she got over it and she's happy now. So number 5, it means to ignore someone, to refuse to talk or be nice to someone, or to purposely not give any attention to someone or something. So what do you think is the answer? Yes, the answer there is brush off. So the phrasal verb brush off in this sentence means to ignore someone. So it means, for example, she brushed him off and told him she was too busy to talk to him. Additionally, to brush off literally means to remove something from someone or something by brushing. For example, I brushed a little dust off her shoulder. So that is our analysis for today. And we can formally now proceed to the discussion. So what is phrasal verbs? So phrasal verbs contains of a basic verb and another word or words, usually a preposition or an adverb. So for example, we have here speak, which is a basic verb, and up, which is a preposition. And when you combine it, we form a word which is speak up, right? So some phrasal verbs require direct object. It could be someone or something. For example, we have the call, which is a basic verb, Lorenzo, which is our direct object, and back, which is an adverb. So when you combine it, you form call Lorenzo back. So these 2 or 3 words together form a short phrase, which is why verbs are called phrasal verbs, right? So how are phrasal verbs different from prepositional phrases? So be careful, students. While phrasal verbs can contain prepositions, these same prepositions can also be used in prepositional phrases. So how do we tell the differences? So for example, I look up the direction. And another example, I look up the road. So in the first example, the preposition up is part of the phrasal verb look up, a unit meaning to locate information in references materials. So the meaning of the sentence changes if the 2 words are not working together. So in the second example, up the road is a prepositional phrase. So in this sentence, look up is not functioning as a unit. So the phrasal verb there is the I look up the direction. So now, let's proceed to transitive and intransitive phrasal verbs. So what do you mean by transitive and intransitive phrasal verbs? So a phrasal verb can be transitive or intransitive. So the best way to understand the difference between the 2 types of verb is by trying to find the direct object. So the direct object is a noun or noun phrase referring to a person or thing which is receiving an action of a transitive verb. So to sum it up, transitive phrasal verbs have a direct object. So I have here an example. I will set up a meeting with the president. So you're going to find the direct objects. To find the direct object there, you have to ask the question, what is being set up? So what is being set up, students? Yes, the meeting with the president. So the direct object there is the meeting with the president. So we have another example here. Colleagues gave up playing online games 2 years ago. So what do you think is the direct object there? Is it colleagues? No. You have to answer the question, what did colleagues give up 2 years ago? So the answer is the online games. So colleagues gave up playing online games 2 years ago. So the direct object there is online games. So the examples that I gave to you is an example of transitive phrasal verbs. Now let's proceed to intransitive phrasal verbs. Since transitive phrasal verb has direct object, of course, intransitive phrasal verbs has no direct object. For example, Juanito said he would meet us at 8 p.m. but he never showed up. It means Juanito didn't arrive, or he did not meet with his friends. Another example is Perry grew up in London, England. It means Perry lived there when she was young. So remember, some phrasal verbs can be both transitive and intransitive, but with different meanings. For example, the phrasal verb look up. When we use the transitive phrasal verb, here is the example. It is important to look up any new vocabulary in a dictionary. So what does it mean? So here, look up means to search for something. So we have another example of look up, but with the use of intransitive phrasal verbs. So it has been a difficult year, but things are starting to look up. So here, look up means to get better or improve. Now, let's proceed to separable and inseparable phrasal verbs. So a large number of phrasal verbs are transitive, meaning they can take an object. So there are some specific rules for using this type of phrasal verbs. So separable phrasal verbs can be broken up by other words, while inseparable phrasal verbs cannot be separated by other words. So I have here an example of separable phrasal verbs. So the first sentence, Lay wrote down some important notes during the lesson. And the second one is Ali wrote everything down during the lesson. So as you can see on the second sentence, the word or the phrasal verb wrote down can be separated by other word, which is the everything. So Ali wrote everything down during the lesson. So it is an example of separable phrasal verbs. So let's go to the example of inseparable phrasal verbs. So the first one, we always run into Zane at parties. Then the other one is we always run Zane into parties. So as you can see on the first example, it is correct. But on the second example, it is not correct. Because run into phrasal verbs cannot be separated by other words. So you cannot say, we always run Zane into parties. But we say, we always run into Zane at parties. So I hope you learned something from me, class. So today we're going to have an enrichment activities. So this activity consists of 3 categories. So in the first categories, you're going to define or determine which sentence contains a preposition phrases and which contains a phrasal verb. So these are the questions. So the next activity is you're going to determine if the phrasal verb in each sentence can be separable. So here are the example sentences. And for the final category, you have to fill in the blanks with the correct phrasal verbs. So don't forget to change the tense if required. Then try to alter the sentences you form. So here are the sentences. So now students, we're going to apply what we have learned. So you are tasked to add particles for non-separable verbs in the context. So you will have to find your partner and you must be able to answer the sentence correctly. So this falls on the discussion, which is the separable and non-separable phrasal verbs. So I hope you will be able to accomplish this task. Is you're going to rearrange words in these sentences so that they are correct. These are the sentences. So the next task is I am going to evaluate you, where you are going to match the phrasal verbs in column A with their meaning in column B. This evaluation will give me an idea on how well you learned in this discussion for today. It means if you answered them correctly, you know what are the meanings of these phrasal verbs. And if you know the meaning of each phrasal verbs, it means you know how to construct your own sentences. Now we are done with the evaluation, students. I am giving you now an assignment where you're going to study the list of the 10 most common phrasal verbs and make your own sentences. Now that we are done with the discussion for today, I hope, students, that you learned something from me, and also I hope that you complete all the tasks, and I wish you luck in learning your English grammar. So thank you for listening and have a great day.